Hey guys, this is Anime Ball Z here, and today we are going to be doing the first part of What If DEKU had Soul Force. After this What If, I'm probably going to start doing What If Goku was a Super Saiyan in Dragon Ball. When I mean after this What If, I mean after this What If part. I'm going to be doing these two What Ifs alongside each other. There's nothing much else I want to say in the intro, so without further ado, let's get into the video.
One time, all the time, ooh, yeah. Look at the way that I move, swag, disrespectful and I'm rude, okay. I had cocaine in the school.
Before we jump right into the What If, I'll have to go over some background to allow DEKU to have this. Also, I'll give a basic description on Soul Force, but I recommend you read up about it in the Tales of Demons and Gods wiki on Google. It gives a better description there. I also recommend reading the first few chapters of Tales of Demons and Gods to get a basic gist of Soul Force. The manhwa is really good too. So I will be missing out a few complex details, but Soul Force is a spiritual energy housed in one's soul sea or dantian. One has to form a soul sea or ocean from the dantian, mainly to then house demon spirits. That's even more complex, but I'll bottle it down to a certain orb one can use to gain powers of special animals called demon beasts. The Soul Force is then ranked through several tiers and subdivisions, but I'll reveal more about Soul Force as we continue on with the What If. Finally, each Soul Sea has a special soul attribute. These are traits of the Soul Sea that allow appropriate cultivation techniques to be used so the person can gain a lot more power to their Soul Force. Well, power when it comes to Soul Force is just the units of Soul Force that you possess. The more units, the more powerful your Soul Force is. For how Soul Force integrates into this world, I will say that many years ago Soul Force was a sophisticated thing. However, with the growth of technology and changes in lifestyle, the Soul Force started to decay along with people's memory of it. With the emergence of quirks alongside this, many people became incapable of Soul Force through quirks and the world of Soul Seas. Also, I will say that the world has conquered the fate of demon beasts through capturing them and preventing them to have any offspring, reducing their population to levels that just aren't a threat to humanity anymore. I'd put their total number in the range of the 10,000s, and the majority of these demon beasts are housed away in safe places where they can do no harm to humans. Where we will be starting off this What If is with the slime villain. DEKU, with no quirk and powers yet, gets engulfed by the slime. He starts to suffocate and lose consciousness, but then he feels something weird inside of him. In one push, the power is released and he is enveloped in a cyan blue aura. His power has been amplified greatly and the aura simply decays the slime until it is pretty much nothing but quasi-solid scattered on the floor. All Might then lands powerfully in front of him with boulder-like shoulders and a massive chest. No need to fear because I am here. Oh wow, you did good kid. You really did this yourself? All Might says with gratitude, running forwards to collect the slime that's on the ground. Yes. Air blasting Deku's face as All Might passes him, then he glances upon his body, seeing the powerful aura. Is this a quirk? Am I a late bloomer? Deku wonders, throwing a punch to see that he's clearly way faster. What's your quirk, kid? All Might asks, throwing the bottle of slime in his pocket. I don't know, Deku replies truthfully. All Might just looks at him confused and leaps away and into the distance. Deku then opens his hero notebook after leaving the scene, completely flabbergasted by the fact that that was literally All Might, but then he sees that his book has also been signed. No way. Now back at home, Deku doesn't really know how to use his power again. It just kinda disappeared as he was walking, he couldn't get it back. The clueless teen then starts to meditate, just trying to focus and find that power once again. With enough focus, he sees that soul ocean and his body engulfs in that power within it. He then envelops in a powerful azure coloured aura. This feels so different, he thinks to himself, opening his eyes to then stare at the flowing energy. Wow, I really have a quirk now. I have a quirk, Deku says happily, almost bringing himself to tears from the news. I have to become the strongest hero with this power. After this event, Deku just starts to feel out his power and calmly tries to get a better grip with it. Without knowing, him doing this is also strengthening his soul force even more. He does go to a quirk doctor with his mother, but ends up finding out that he has no quirk. He knows there's a power he possesses, but now realizing that it's not a quirk makes him even more confused. I've got 11 months to train now. I've got to make it count, he states, standing with the new power that he has. How am I going to effectively get stronger though? I don't even know what this power is, he wonders. As he is thinking this, Inka then comes in with a large treasure box weighing several kilograms. He dumps it onto Deku's ground and he seems a little confused. Why have you dropped a random box in my room? I think this is something to do with your abilities. Just look at the stuff inside. It's from your dad. He said it's useless family heirloom, she says, before just leaving. Okay. He bends down and looks inside the box to see a plethora of various items, crystals, capsules, and more. Oh, there's quite a few notes on how to use these things. Soul crystal? The Soul Crystal is a crystal that when Soul Force is transferred into it, shows the user the amount of Soul Force they have and their Soul attribute. For him, his Soul Force is 35, which is very decent for literally never using Soul Force, and his Soul attribute is Lightning Fire. With this, he has an Azure Soul Seed. This is incredibly rare and powerful, explaining his high Soul Force. 35 Soul Force? I mean, okay, and a Lightning Fire Soul attribute seems pretty cool. After this, he found something called cultivation techniques. Cultivation techniques are simply chants, and through this, one can increase their amount of Soul Force. It is usually done in meditation. DEKU, using the knowledge here, realizes that he needs a cultivation technique that's best suited for his Lightning Fire attribute. I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Celestial Killing. Don't worry, there isn't much you need to know about this except that it's just a cultivation technique that is compatible with the Lightning Fire attribute. Also, he finds certain bottles that contain things called elixirs. With the notes on the item, it apparently boosts one's cultivation speed, and with this, his plan has begun. Firstly, DEKU's going to learn mixed martial arts. He is particularly keen on boxing and taekwondo, wanting to learn both in unison. Alongside his training, he will boost his Soul Force and hopefully reach a high enough level of power to pass the UA entrance exam. 3 months in, DEKU has already got quite the physique. He isn't anywhere near as big as in the canon, but his triceps are decent and his chest is getting bigger and bigger. He is also getting far more fit and powerful, actually getting better form with his punches and kicks. During cultivation, something weird starts to happen. His cultivation goes the same as normal, but then he feels his Soul Ocean react oddly. It grows significantly in size and suddenly he breaks right through to 1-star bronze rank. These are the rankings for Soul Force, and it goes from bronze to silver to gold to black gold to legend. Each of these tiers are then broken up into 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, 4-star and 5-star divisions. Each star division, if you will, requires 100 units to pass through, and each tier requires 500 units from the 5-star divisions. So this is 1-star bronze rank. Seemed much easier than how the notes painted out to be. Oh well, DEKU realizes continuing his training. The reason why he's finding cultivation so easy is because his Soul Seed is so rare and powerful. By the end of the training period of 11 months, DEKU is jacked. I'd say he's bigger than himself in the UA entrance exam from canon, but he isn't too big. He is now at a steady 3-star bronze rank and he feels incredible power with his fighting. He's now ready to shock the teacher and examiners with his abilities. He heads the UA entrance exam and still trips over, but he doesn't seem that bothered at all. Uraraka goes to save him, but he simply rolls and gets right back on his feet. This catches her right off guard, but it is a world of quirks and she just leaves it at that. Eventually, after the explanation of the exam is done, the fighters are ready. DEKU clenches his fist and engulfs in a powerful deep blue aura. This catches the people around him off guard from his incredibly flashy quirk to them, but DEKU stays focused. There's no countdown on a real fight, go! DEKU runs ahead and starts sprinting at phenomenal speeds. He pushes right past the peers beside him, and the only people remotely close to him are Tenya and Bakugo. DEKU throws a good form right punch and destroys an entire robot's head, then leaping up and off it to come down with a spinning kick to destroy another. A few rockets then come his way, but he ducks right under them by landing on his hands and feet, then blasting off and away to face the next robot ahead. He lands a punch to its centerpiece and leaps up extravagantly, landing a downwards kick to destroy it. DEKU just lands and runs right off to continue his fighting. His attacks are speedy and powerful, making him seem like some athletic god. His fighting looks way more skillful than it actually is, due to his speed and his focus is elite. Finishing off on another robot, he sees Uraraka trapped under the 0 pointer, looming right over him. Can I even get up there? He wonders, thinking of what he can even do to save her. The ambitious teen then runs right up the wall beside him, leaping off to try and face the robot. He lands on its makeshift thigh before grasping tightly and leaping right up. Positioning himself correctly and aiming the punch right, he throws a punch to its centerpiece and knocks it back slightly. He also leaves a large dent in it. Uraraka is freed, then he leaps down from the 0 pointer, landing to then roll several times and then raise back up. Thank you. I thought I was done then. No problem. Anytime, DEKU says, starting to blush. To stop the awkward silence, he runs in the opposite direction and runs up a building wall, leaping down it to destroy a robot before the exam is complete. DEKU, with 60 hero points from saving Uraraka, is also handed 81 extra points from destroying the robots. With this, DEKU gains an absolutely massive 141 point total. This makes the teachers very interested in him and his fighting style too. Now, DEKU receives a mail that he passed and is amazed. However, he was sure that he would at least pass after his performance. DEKU, digging into his special treasure chest again, finds some random weapon. It's a large sword with a very flat blade and sharp edges, and it weighs around 20 pounds. Think of Asta's sword, except it's in good condition and isn't exactly rusty or anything. The handle is pretty thick but definitely round and not wide like the blade. Whoa, this inscription on the sword matches my soul attribute too, he realizes, activating his soul force. Inscriptions are basically just engravings on a blade or sword or any weapon to enhance it in a certain way. After feeling this weapon, he decides to make this his one and only soul weapon for his fighting. A soul weapon is basically just a weapon that you integrate into your soul seed. The weapon can disappear and reappear on your command, and it basically just stays in your soul seed until you want to use it. However, you can only integrate with one weapon. For the next arc, the Quirk apprehension test, things go very differently. For the 50-meter dash, Deku blows everyone right out of the park. It's difficult to determine how fast Soul Force makes you as the man who wears just straight pictures, but I know for sure that it has to be far above ordinary human levels. Okay, I've just went through 30 or so episodes of the Donghua, which is basically just a Chinese version for anime, and I can see that they are pretty fast and athletic. His running speed now should be around 50 to 70 miles per hour, I reckon. At the end of the day, Deku is still a bronze rank fighter. Their fighting speed, as you can see, is around 40 to 50 miles per hour, but in some instances the fighters are far faster than that. He gets the entire 50 meters in 2 seconds, and for the next test he gets 700 kilograms for the grip strength test. Next, for the standing long jump, he goes right over the sandbox entirely like some of the other members. Bakugo is already getting worked up seeing all of Deku's crazy results so far. After that, Deku also blows him out with a ball throw of 1000 meters. For the final results, Deku gets second only to Yaoyorozu herself. Next, the arc is the Battle Trowel arc. For Deku's hero uniform, I don't see any major changes occurring to it. His admiration for All Might is still as strong as in canon. The only difference will be a colour change. This is because of the colour of his soul force. Now for the actual fight, Deku is more confident than in canon. His physique is more noticeable and you can even see his quads, chest and traps through the suit. He still doesn't have that overall buff look yet though. Bakugo turns a corner, then uses Deku's predicted right explosion swing. Deku ducks under, then lands the first punch to Bakugo. Bakugo mumbles, taken aback by his strength. Deku then backs off and activates his soul force, engulfing it in an azure aura. Also, his sword appears from thin air and he awaits an attack. He threw with that much power even without activating his quirk. How can Bakugo win this, Yaoyorozu thinks, perplexed by the first landed hit of the fight. Bakugo then gets enraged and launches multiple explosions ahead. However, Deku zooms through the explosion and the sword can semi-cut the explosion and leave some of his body protected. Next, he viciously slashes down and lands a deep cut on his friend. He follows through with a punch, but Bakugo pushes off the wall beside him, which is broken to bits by Deku. Deku then leaps right off the wall and flies up about 5 meters in the air before diving down and trying to slash Bakugo. He ends up hitting the ground and cracking it apart, but then he uses the flat blade to block an explosion coming his way. Next, Bakugo uses the massive gauntlets on his arms to shoot out major explosions that actually launch Deku across the battlefield with ease. He has some minor bruises across his body, but nothing concerning. Deku is also holding back because he doesn't want to just wallop on Bakugo and destroy him. He even feels really bad for that sword slash he just did to him. Bakugo runs directly through the smoke then punches Deku, who takes the hit right on. He then throws several more and Deku takes them but doesn't really react. Bakugo, seeing this, is infuriated and launches a massive wave of explosions once again. This time Deku blocks and gains less injuries, but it's still quite hurt. His arms are burnt and scorched, but they start to heal in due time. "Deku, fight back!" Bakugo exclaims, punching him in the face once more. What is he doing? Yaoyorozu wonders, watching the fight. Bakugo then throws a powerful right, but Deku easily catches it. Next, he kicks Bakugo in the stomach and literally launches him across the large hall in which they are in. Then Deku runs ahead at motorway level speeds and snatches up his sword, slicing upwards this time. Finally, he leaps up and swivels down with a timed kick to knock him right out. "Sorry, Kat-chan," he states, running off to finish the mission. Tenya is guarding the rocket and Uraraka stays hidden, while Deku arrives and just completely exposes himself. "There you are," Tenya shouts in a villainous turn before clashing off with his calf engines. He then swings up for a deadly kick, but Deku blocks with his sword, taking no damage whatsoever. Tenya then gets cut on his arm by the sword and stricken with the flat side of the sword. This almost immediately knocks the guy onto the ground and leaves him disorientated, leaving Uraraka open to just tap the rocket and finish the mission. Deku, minutely injured, just allows the Soul Force to do the work, and he throws his weapon right back into the Soul Sea. After a few minutes, he does the same to his Soul Force and is reverted back to his ordinary state. This event makes the UA staff very interested in Deku, as he got second place in the Quirk apprehension test and easily won the entire battle trial, seemingly with little effort when trying to do anything. For the next arc, the USJ arc, things go very differently. Immediately once the villains arrive, Deku retrieves the sword from his Soul Ocean and immediately gets to fighting the villains with his teacher Shota. Izuku, stay back, Shota shouts, placing his hand out of the way to stop him. No, I'll help you. This was actually really fun scripting and making. I definitely look forward to making the following parts in the future. Please tell me something you liked about the part or something that I should improve on for the next part to make this what if as great as possible. Thanks so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video.